Hey there, so this is going to be a quick video on why you need to keep a fitness journal. So whether you're doing bodybuilding or just trying to, lose some weight, you really should be keeping track of your progress. Now, a lot of people will tell you that, and it seems very easy to say, but at the end of the day, whatever you measure is going to get managed. And for me, my favorite way to do that is with occasional measurements, but most of the time with visual progress. And what I actually have done since I was like 16, 17 years old is keep a diary, basically, of pictures. And with these pictures, you're going to want to take them, even if you don't think you look good, even if, you're not flexing, it's not something that you want to be showing off for. You just want to take the most true images of your physique so you can basically measure these things and compare to them. And over time, this will benefit you very much because, for example, you'll be able to do what I do, which is I'll compare certain weights with each other from previous years, certain body fat percentages with each other over the years, and then you'll be able to tangibly measure how much you've actually gained, where you are in your cut, if you need to dial up or dial down the calories and carb manipulation, whatever. Basically, if you have a whole journal here of pictures over years, you'll be able to pull up, let's look at March 2016. Let's see my body fat level there. Let's see how my body fat level at the same, if I was 13% body fat there, let's pull up to last year's 13% body fat and see how much muscle I gained. Let's compare to this year and see, if by the same time this year I'm looking better or worse than before. Because if you have those measurements and those logged, you'll be able to see, how much, if you need to amp up your progress or you're ahead of schedule. And for me, I actually have pictures taken ever since I was like 16, started bodybuilding. I'm 22 now. But even like a picture like this, where it just literally, like, I wasn't trying to look good for anybody. I wasn't posting these pictures. These are just pictures that I have saved. Like, literally, me at 16, right? Obviously, there's a big difference. But I wrote down my body weight. I wasn't recording body fat percentages at that time. But I eventually started recording body weight, the date of the picture. And that was very beneficial to me because then, also, if you were using an app like MyFitnessPal, you can go back and look and say, okay, I was eating this many calories on this day when I weighed 167 pounds. And now, if you're doing a cut and you're 20 pounds heavier, right, several years down the line, you can see, okay, maybe I don't need to push the calories as low. Or maybe if you were bigger before in the previous picture, maybe you need to cut the calories even lower because your metabolism has adapted to, more fat being burned off and perhaps more muscle. But with a lot of these pictures, of course, it is good for your own progress. It's good for your own tracking. But even with most of these pictures, you should be taking these to not necessarily impress anybody. They should just be literally, even if you don't like the look of the picture. I don't like the look of that picture, but I knew at the time that it was going to be useful for me down the line. You need to play the long game with any fitness goal, and especially if you're into bodybuilding side of things. And another thing that ties into is you don't want these pictures to be really for anybody else besides yourself. That's why you shouldn't be afraid to take a picture from an angle where you don't look good. You should just take these pictures from certain poses so you can measure, I was really focusing on chest development this particular bulk. It's like, okay, then you can measure how much you actually gained after your cutting period and after your bulking period, in addition to keeping measurements, which will be very helpful. But the thing is, with the actual long-term benefits of this thing, besides keeping the measurements, the calories, and the weights recorded here, this really will tie in down the line. It's really a long-term play. It's a macro thing here. These pictures are not for anybody else, and this will actually help you be less dependent on the egoic side of fitness goals, because anything that's focused on yourself is going to be naturally more bringing your ego into things. And for a lot of people, they're already taking pictures anyways, right? And especially if you're dieting or whatever, you probably look at yourself in the mirror every now and then. And it's better to have your dependence on your image be something that you just manage to yourself rather than stuff you're throwing up on Instagram every day for validation. And you don't want these things to be just, it'll also test you in your ability to see how much your fitness goals are reliant on other people's perception of you. And for me, a lot of these pictures, that I was aware of that from the start. I was also a skinny guy, so I was pretty modest with, my gains that I made. But I knew from the start that I didn't want my gains to be dependent on other people's perception of me. And if you start keeping a log for yourself and not dependent on posting these pictures up all the time for, to get a couple likes on Instagram, you're probably going to see a lot better results in your program. But at the same time, it's going to be a lot better for your self-development, because it's going to make you a lot less reliant on other people's opinions and posting your progress results just so people will inflate your ego and make you feel good. At the end of the day, it's good to share pictures every now and then, but if you're the type of person who's posting a lot of pictures just so other people will, give you positive feedback, this is definitely a good move for you. And I think anybody measuring their body goals really should be keeping a log of pictures just so they can see visually how much they progressed. And that'll also play in long term, because there's only a certain amount of muscle you can gain naturally. And whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't really matter. If you have logs of, oh yes, 4 years ago I was this weight and I looked this way, and then you can deduce that over those 4 years, looking at the pictures now, oh yeah, I probably gained around 20 pounds total. Then you can say, you know what, I still have more in the natural limit, because the natural limit is around 30 pounds, I think. Well, for most people, but it depends on your frame and your wrist measurements and shoulder measurements and things like that, and your height. But example, there's calculators online for that, look them up. If you look up online calculators, you can almost see as well how far you are in your natural limit. And it has a lot of room for flexibility. It's just that over time your gains will reduce over time. It's the what's the term? It's the law of the one where it deduces over time. Diminishing returns, that's the one. Law of diminishing returns. So, like I said, you're going to be taking pictures, even if you're, don't think it looks good. That's me at like 16, 17, right? I literally just took that picture just to say, okay, let's see how wide the chest is. Let's see how much development there are on the arms. And then over time, I was planning on comparing that. And I really didn't realize how much that would play into my diets going down the line, because then I was able to see the weights and say, okay, this year I am 192, but I look the same level of leanness I looked at 186 the year before. So it really is a tool that a lot of people should be using. So that's my 2 cents in this video. It's going to play a large role in your perception, your dependence on other people, giving you positive feedback, and it's going to go very far away from managing your fitness goals. So my name is Anthony Romano. Hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.